Joining us now with reaction, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. To me, it's simple. Keep your promises. He has a pretty long list in a fairly short period of time that he's checked off. I am disappointed that after 8 years of saying repeal and replace, they didn't have a bill ready that had consensus. I think they'll get it done, but they made it harder than they should have.
Sure, but let's put a couple things here that you touched on. I think the swearing in of Justice Gorsuch today is a huge victory for conservatism, big victory for the president. And if you think back to what the alternative would have been with Hillary Clinton, what an enormous difference. If you want a reminder of how big a difference the election made, imagine who she would have been swearing in and how radical that person would have been. But second, let's be fair. Mitch McConnell really deserves a lot of credit. While the House Republicans were floundering, he very aggressively, very calmly said over and over again, Judge Gorsuch is going to become Justice Gorsuch. I will figure out a way to get this done. It is going to happen. He changed history. It was a very courageous thing to do. It was the right thing to do. So Mitch McConnell deserves, I think, a lot of credit for that.
I agree.
President Trump deserves a lot of credit. And by the way, remember, Judge Gorsuch was on the original list during the campaign when people wondered how conservative Trump would be. And working with the Federalist Society, he produced a remarkable list. And I think he might have 2 or 3 more justices on that list before his presidency is over. So it was a big day for him. Also today, Toyota announced, I think, $1 billion plus investment in the United States. Another example of where Trump is beginning to make a real difference. So I do think you see some very positive things beginning to be developed.
What do you make of the palace intrigue?
That I'm very encouraged by.
You know, that you got a group of some people that are more liberal from New York, then you got the more conservative members that are surrounding the president, that there's a lot of infighting and battling for turf and territory and who ultimately impacts the president. Because my experience, having been around him and interviewing him a lot, is that he's not exactly somebody that is convinced easily that he's wrong. And and so far, everything he's done has been part of his agenda and promise from the get-go.
Look, Washington reporters love gossip more than facts. They love covering insider junk more than covering history. But the fact is, Donald J. Trump is going to be president, not some staff, not some cabal, not the quote New Yorkers. For example, the Reince Priebus, Steve Bannon, Jared Kushner stories, I think, are way overblown. The fact is, all 3 of them are trying to execute the president's plan. They have the normal effort of any team trying to figure out different nuances. But it's not like there's the liberal group and the conservative group. You aren't going to last in the Trump White House unless the program you're executing is the Trump program. He is too smart. He has run too many organizations. Somebody who came in there and tried to manipulate him would last about 12 hours. Because,
by the way, I can testify that.
I mean,
how many people
have been in conversations with him where you can't surround him and get him to do something. He just blows past it. He's too powerful a personality.
How many people tried to tell the president or candidate Trump not to tweet? He didn't listen to liberals around him, conservatives around him, family around him. He made up his own mind. That's the guy that I know.
Me,
yeah,
you,
I told him
everyone.
what I did. By the way, in retrospect, I like that he tweets. In retrospect, I think it's good for him to tweet. So I think I was wrong.
Like 10% less would be 100% more if it was the right 10%. But that's a great example. But I think about something deeper. Trump has been saying the same things for 30 years.
Good point.
You can go back and you look at interviews with Oprah Winfrey. You can look at when he had the Time magazine cover in February of 1989. I mean, this is a very mature person who's thought a long time about his country. He has assembled a team. And remember, outside the White House, you got people like Secretary Mattis or Secretary Tillerson, Secretary Perry, the longest-serving governor in Texas history. I mean, he has very strong personalities around him, and he gets on the phone. You know, when he does something in Syria, he's talking to the Saudi king next. He just met with the Egyptian president.
Yeah.
And who he talked to again today about the bombings this weekend. He met with the king of Jordan. I mean, he's getting information from more sources than any president I can remember. And he does it very actively and very aggressively. And he learns very, very fast.
I think that's well said. All right, Mr. Speaker, always good to see you. Thanks for being with us.